Thermoregulation is the process by which animals maintain an internal temperature within a tolerable range. So you're within 98.6, up or down, you are a thermoregulator. You thermoregulate your temperature. Not all animals do this. Next. Oh, look at that. It's not going to let me do it. Okay, next. Okay. Explain in general terms how endotherms and ectotherms manage their heat budgets. So this is number 9. Endothermic animals generate heat by metabolism. This is what you do. You generate heat, you have a homeostasis process. Birds and mammals are endotherms. They regulate their body temperature. Ectothermic animals gain heat from external sources. These are snakes, reptiles, fish that gain their heat by sitting on a rock or by going to a warmer part of the water or getting out of the shade or getting in the shade. This also includes invertebrates. They gain heat from external sources. They may maintain a reasonable body temperature, but they do it from external sources. Endotherms can maintain a stable body temperature even in the face of huge fluctuations in environmental temperatures. Endothermy, you being endothermic, it's very expensive. You spend a lot of your energy trying to keep a constant body temperature. And ectotherms can really tolerate a greater variation in internal temperature. A walrus is endothermic, a lizard is endothermic. The body temperature of a poikilotherium varies with its environment. Okay, ways animals exchange heat. There are 4, A, B, C, D. I have them 1, 2, 3. Radiation, evaporation, convection, and conduction. So let me move the little lizard. Here he goes up. Okay, so radiation, let's make him a little smaller. So radiation is the process by which the sun is going to come down on the lizard, right? This is like you set out in the sun, you get hot. That's radiation. Evaporation is water or heat loss. When it's cold outside, you're going to lose heat to evaporation. You're going to lose heat to anything that water's on you. You're going to lose that through evaporation. Convection is the process where wind will go past you. So wind will it's a breeze that goes and pulls your heat out. That's why you're so much colder when it's windy. So the wind just brushes past you. It's a breeze. Conduction is you set on a hot metal slide or you set on a cold bench and it pulls the heat from your butt onto the cold seat. Or you set on a seat that's already warm. So the 4 are radiation, evaporation, convection, and conduction. Discuss the role of hair, feathers, and adipose tissue in insulation. So insulation. One of the things that skin and feathers do is it reduces the heat flow. So it keeps you warm and reduces your heat leaving or heat coming in. So feathers, fur, skin, all of these reduce heat flow. They basically act as insulation. Adipose tissue is going to be your main form of insulation. I'm going to try and make that a little bit bigger. Your main form of insulation. So the 2 answers there are they reduce heat exchange, heat flow, and they act as insulation. 21, vasoconstriction. Okay, so vasoconstriction is the act by which your blood decreases. So your blood flow in the skin, so vasodilation, dilation is going to make it bigger, constriction is going to make it smaller. Vasodilation, the blood flow in the skin increases and you get heat loss. So right here, you're going to see this gets bigger, it's closer to here, and you're going to lose some heat. So when it's really warm outside, you're going to vasodilate because this moves your blood closer to your skin and your heat is lost by radiation. That's vasodilation. Vasoconstriction is going to constrict it. It's going to remove it further away from your skin and it's going to keep that heat in. So it's going to be vasoconstricted. Dilating will make you cooler. Constricting will keep you warmer. Do you have those 2? So we'll go back again. Dilation increases and you have heat loss. Constriction makes it smaller. Dilates, constricts it, makes it smaller, and lowers heat loss. Circulatory adaptions. So these are do you remember we talked about countercurrent exchange? The arrangement of blood vessels, so they're next to each other, is going to create that countercurrent exchanger. Here it is again. So it's going to come in. This is the warm body. It's going to come in at 35. This is the extremity. And it's going to, as the cold blood comes back around, this warm blood is going to warm it. And it's going to go back in. The same with the flipper. So it's going to come in from the warm body. When it goes back around, it's going to come in contact with that warm blood. And the warm blood is going to lose the heat to the cold blood. Bony fish and sharks also use countercurrent exchanges. Many types of animals lose heat through evaporation of water from their skin. Sweating or bathing moistens these. Panting increases the cooling effect. So these are cooling by evaporative heat loss. You sweat anytime you have water on your skin. When it evaporates, it's going to pull that heat with it, and it's called evaporative heat loss. That is 23. Some other describe thermoregulative mechanisms. So you're going to huddle together. You're going to be in warm water. You're going to set in the sun. Your honeybees are going to huddle together during cold weather. There's a honeybee. Anything you can think of that would move or shiver, that is going to be a mechanism by which you would increase your thermoregulation. Increase heat production. Muscle activity is going to increase your heat production. Non-shivering thermogenesis takes place in the hormones such as the mitochondria. Some ectotherms can also shiver to increase their body temperature. 26, explain how ectotherms and endotherms acclimate to change their temperatures. Birds and mammals vary their insulation during seasons, so they have more insulation when it's cold, less insulation in the summer. When temperatures are sub-zero, some ectotherms actually produce antifreeze, which prevents ice formation in their cells. How cool is that? Don't you wish you did that? The hypothalamus is really the control center for most of this, and it regulates your temperature. There it is. We did this. Define bioenergetics. This is the overall flow and transformation of energy in an animal. It determines how much food an animal needs, and it relates to its body size. So you can get this number. It's about 1,500 to 2,000 calories for humans, depending on your activity and other things. And it's just saying this is how much energy you need that goes in and out. So bioenergetic. Bioenergy is the overall flow and transformation. 28, describe the basic sources of chemical energy and their fate in animals. Organisms can be classified by how they obtain chemical energy. So autotrophs, such as plants, harness light and build molecules. So they're autotrophs. They don't need anything else. They just need sun. Heterotrophs, such as animals, harvest chemical energy from food. You know this, autotrophs and heterotrophs. It's just a reminder that there are autotrophs and heterotrophs. Define biosynthesis. Biosynthesis includes body growth and repair, synthesis of storage materials such as fat, and production of gametes. So biosynthesis can only happen after your basic needs are met. So you're not going to store extra fat unless you have extra fat to contribute. So after the needs of just staying alive, then you go to biosynthesis. Then you start storing fat, or you produce gametes, or you do other things. Metabolic rate is the amount of energy you need to use full time. The metabolic rate is determined by how much heat loss you have, the amount of oxygen consumed, so the amount of oxygen consumed or carbon dioxide produced, and the content of food. So this is all basically how you would lose weight. If you want to consume more calories, then you have to use more oxygen and carbon dioxide and some kind of exercise, and that will consume more of your food, or you eat less food. So your metabolic rate is the amount of energy an animal uses in a unit of time, and that's determined by how much heat loss you have, the amount of oxygen consumed or carbon dioxide produced, and the energy content from your food, what kind of food you are eating. Basal metabolism rate is the metabolic rate of an endotherm at a comfortable temperature. And the last one, I believe, is torpor. And where is it? There it is. So torpor is a physiological state in which activity is low and metabolism is decreased. This enables animals to save energy while avoiding difficult and dangerous conditions. Many times in the winter, animals will enter a state of torpor or sleep. You really enter torpor or sleep at night. You decrease your metabolism and your activity is low. But many animals will do this to conserve energy. So when it gets too hot or too cold, they will go into torpor for days at a time. And they will conserve their metabolic needs. You sometimes do this. But animals do it for longer, and it's called torpor. It's a state of decreased metabolism. Hibernation is a long-term torpor that is an adaptation to winter cold or food scarcity, where they'll just completely shut down and go into a state of hibernation. Estivation usually happens in the summer. It enables animals to survive long periods of high temperatures and scarce water. And it's kind of a hibernation. It's a summer hibernation, really, or summer torpor. It's called estivation. Daily torpor is just sleep. It's exhibited in many small animals and birds and seems to adapt to feeding. So they just sleep at different times. Okay, that is it. That is all we have.